He said, "We wait for clearance. That's protocol." But she didn't even turn to look at him. Her eyes were fixed on the soldier lying in the snow, blood spreading across his side, breath shallow, face turning pale in the unforgiving cold. The blizzard was relentless, slashing sideways through the air like icy blades, burying the mountains and everyone on them under a white, suffocating silence. The wind roared so loud it drowned out the voice on the radio, repeating over and over, "Negative on Medevac, conditions unstable, hold position." She was holding position and watching him die. She pressed 2 fingers to his neck, barely a pulse. The snow beneath him was stained crimson, and his eyes fluttered in and out, his body twitching from the cold. They had maybe 20 minutes before hypothermia took over completely. The others stood by, stunned, paralyzed by fear or training or both. She pulled off her glove, adjusted the pressure bandage, and stared at the comms unit like it had betrayed her. "If we wait, he won't make it," she said under her breath, mostly to herself. The younger soldier to her left shook his head, unsure. Command said no air, 0 visibility, it's suicide. Her jaw clenched. That was the problem. Command had never seen what dying in the snow looked like. She had. Twice. She grabbed the emergency beacon from her pack and started entering codes. "What are you doing?" one of them asked, stepping closer. "You're not cleared to—" She cut him off. "Override authorization, priority echo." Her fingers flew across the pad, bypassing standard clearance by using deep field protocols she learned during black site training. "That's a court-martial," he said, eyes wide. "Only if I survive," she muttered, then lifted the radio. "Dustwing, this is Wolf 05. You get this, I need you in the sky now. Vector Delta 3, I've got a man down and minutes to live." There was static, then a pilot's voice broke through the blizzard. "We're grounded, we don't have clearance to fly blind." She didn't hesitate. "You don't need clearance, you've got me." There was a pause on the line, long and dangerous. Then came the reply, "Copy." "You better be right." Above them, the thrum of rotors began to whisper through the wind. At first, it was barely audible, more hope than reality. But then it grew. Thunder from above. A shadow cut through the whiteout, black blades slicing through the sky. The Medevac burst into view like a ghost, skimming just feet above the treetops. She slung his arm around her shoulder and hoisted him up, every muscle in her body screaming as she dragged him through snow up to her thighs. The others followed now, wordless, adrenaline-fueled. When the bird touched down, medics jumped out, rushing to stabilize the soldier. One of them looked at her with disbelief. "You called this in, without command?" She didn't flinch. "He needed out. I gave you a reason to fly." The medic shook his head, half admiring, half terrified. "They're going to hang you for this." She glanced at the man on the stretcher. "Let them." Back at the base, chaos had already erupted. Command was lit up. Radar showed unauthorized air traffic. Protocols violated. Alarms triggered. The general stormed into the command tent, eyes burning. "Who launched that Medevac?" he barked. No one answered until she stepped through the flap, covered in snow, eyes sharp as steel. "I did, sir." The general turned. "You bypassed clearance?" She nodded. "Yes, sir." "That's not your call to make," he snapped. "It was someone's life to lose," she said, her voice even but unwavering. The room froze. The general narrowed his eyes. "Do you have any idea what kind of fire you've lit with this?" She took a breath. "The kind that saves people." Another officer entered, a report in hand. "Sir, Dustwing confirms the evac completed. Patient stabilized mid-flight. Doctors said he had less than 15 minutes. The general's posture shifted. Less anger, more weight. "So he lives." The officer nodded. The general turned back to her, slower this time. "You know I'm supposed to write you up. That's a serious breach." She nodded. "I know, sir." The silence that followed was thick. The younger soldiers in the room watched her with wide eyes, some in awe, some in fear, all of them learning. Then the general sighed and set his cap on the table. "But I'm not going to, because in war, the hardest decisions aren't always the ones in the manual." He paused, then added, "That was gutsy." And it was right. The tension broke like ice cracking underfoot. She stood there, motionless, taking none of it as praise. Just relief, quiet, cold relief. Days later, the soldier she saved returned. Weak, stitched up, but alive. He found her outside watching a training drill in the cold morning air. He stood beside her for a moment before speaking. "I heard what you did." She didn't look at him. "You'd have done the same." "No," he said softly. "I wouldn't have known how." She finally turned. "Now you do." There was no ceremony, no medal, no parade, just a quiet moment between warriors who understood what it meant to put the mission above yourself, and when to break the rules to keep someone breathing. Because leadership isn't about saying the right thing, it's about doing the hard thing when no one else will. When hope starts slipping away, someone has to move first, even if it means paying the price later. She didn't launch that Medevac for glory. She did it because waiting would have been the same as giving up, and she wasn't raised to give up. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment where are you watching from. If this story touched you, subscribe the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.